Thank you for joining me. The wife will be in here shortly. In the meantime, you get to put up with me. As always, during our lives, as you are here on TikTok, make sure to tap, tap, tap the screen. Every 50,000 likes you give, I will perform some magic for you. So if you've never watched me and seen me perform magic, make sure to tap, tap, tap on that screen because it does help me a lot. Europe was wonderful. The people were lovely. The smell of the place, everything about it was great. So make sure, make the text big where we can actually see it. So we stayed in Istanbul for a week. We got to see some of the old sites, the old country. Things like the Hagia Sophia and the Basilica and the Blue Mosque and just some amazing and wonderful things. It was absolutely phenomenal. The sightseeing. I mean, the city is the center of civilization in Europe. The Roman Empire, lots of those things for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years were housed out of that place. So it's truly got a rich history, and it was neat to be a part of all of those things. The people were polite and would always offer you extra little things. Even if you didn't buy something, could I give you some tea? Could I do this for you before you left? Everything was always just a little extra, and I enjoyed that very much. As for the operation, it was done very well by a team of 4 people that were working on me for 22 hours or so. It was I felt I felt very well cared for. It was very special, and it was just a wonderful experience. Definitely something I enjoyed. Let me adjust my kilt a little bit. Hello, Mojo. It's always good to see you. Yes, it was a medical trip. A lot of people travel to Turkey for medical procedures, and I apparently am one of them. I did a hair transplant. I did a video about it. I've been having a bald spot form back here that's, been growing the last 10 years, and I was getting very self-conscious about it. And the thought of being in movies and TV shows moving forward, we've been cast in a movie, talking to TV producers. I thought if I don't take care of it now, I may not ever get a chance to take care of it. And so I decided to go ahead and get it done. And I did. Yeah, there were probably 40 to 50 guys on the plane that had the procedure done on the way back. It is a Windsor knot, Victoria. You have a very fine eye for knots. I appreciate many different knots, but I feel like with this, a Windsor is appropriate. What do you think? Did I pick the correct knot? Hello, England. I'm glad that I could inspire you, and I hope I can bring out better landlords, and some of you can become landlords and become good landlords. Landlording doesn't have to be bad. We meet a need in the community. We fix homes that other people would not or could not fix, and we make money doing so if we do it well. But it does require us to thank you so much. Thank you for the gifts. You guys are super kind on the tube and on TikTok. Thank you. It's important. It's a role that we should play for sure. Thank you, Strawberry Rowing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do I celebrate Christmas? I celebrate Christmas by trying to allow the families that rent from me to celebrate Christmas. It's not unusual for me to be fixing something on one of their homes on Christmas Day. Good evening. For those of you who have never joined us before, this is Vampire Story Night. Tonight we're going to be reading from the story Varney the Vampire. This is a story from the 1840s. This is 50 years older than Dracula. It inspired many of the things you think you know about vampires came from this story, including vampires and their interest in real estate. So make sure to stick around. We'll be reading here in just a few minutes. We start at 7 Central, which is 13 minutes from now. Can I fix your parents' relationship? Sometimes your parents' relationship might not need to be fixed. Sometimes it might be better to let it pass. One of the, I think, worst things we do in therapy and such, and trying to help people, is we try to get people back to the status quo. We try to say, okay, what can we do to make this relationship work? And sometimes a relationship just doesn't need to work. We try to get a person back to, how can we make this job work for you? How can we make you comfortable with the job? When sometimes the job just isn't going to work for you. Sometimes you literally need a change, and that's okay. Now, change doesn't always fix your problems. It's more than just change, but well, welcome in, Victoria, and I'm glad you could finally make it to one of my lives, and you picked a great one. And 12 minutes from now, we'll start reading our vampire story, and it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be delightful. I hope you'll consider sharing, and remember, every 50,000 taps you do, I will perform some magic. So if you enjoy magic, I will reward you for your efforts in sharing and liking on the screen, and following, and heart me's, and all of those things are greatly appreciated. Your father passed, but he still technically lives with us. I'm confused exactly by what you mean. Hello there. Welcome in. Don't be spammy. Don't be spammy over there. I don't want to have to silence people already. Thank you, dear. Oh, I see, I see. No, we are reading Varney the Vampire. We've read Dracula, we've read Carmilla, we've read Vampire City. We like to read classic vampire stories, but tonight it's Varney the Vampire. I give you the creeps, Caesar? Really? Me? Yes, my wife will do the biggest part of the reading, but I'll read the important parts, the parts that the vampire has. Have I ever watched Vampire Hunter D? Of course. I think it's a delightful show. The mechanical horse, the big hat, the coat, everything about it, it looks lovely, and artistically it's very interesting. My wife looks like the actress Margaret Whitten. I'm not sure who that is. Thank you. The state the Airbnb's in is Arkansas. So if you look in Fort Smith, Arkansas, you can find them. You stayed in my vampire den a year ago. Well, thank you. I hope you had a good time. We're always trying to make it a little bit better. Hello, Canada. Welcome in. I just realized I forgot to get water ready for us. I don't have any water for our story time. I'm going to have to go take care of that in a minute. You stayed at the car-themed Airbnb. Well, thank you for staying with us. Well, you never know when you'll get a chance to come to the United States. It's itchy. I want to scratch it. Any good Magic the Gathering pools? I got a pretty good Boomy. I've got I got a couple of interesting cards. I'm working on, so my son and I from Magic the Gathering, who likes to play, for Christmas, each of us is building a commander deck for the other one. And he's very excited. He's working on it. And I'm working on one that I think he'll enjoy playing right now. And a couple of my recent pulls will be going in it. It's a Simic deck. It'll be kind of fun. You're going to be able to watch the movie I'm in on Hulu. So it'll be on Hulu probably around Halloween next year is when I would suspect to see it. And don't worry, I will be promoting it like crazy when it gets close because I'm going to be excited. I'm going to get to be in a movie. Like, why would I not want to promote that? Yes, Smelly, I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. Just a little itchy from where my head's healing. I'm glad you enjoy watching us. Thank you for joining us. And remember, every 50,000 taps, I'll do some magic. Yes, I'm going to be in a movie. It'll be filming in April. How much do they pay me to be in a movie? $750 a day, plus travel expenses and a little bit extra percentages and things. It's not a huge amount, but it's not bad. I mean, your name is Harley. Well, welcome in, Harley. Yeah, plus the experience, exactly. And they're also paying for me to be in the Screen Actors Guild and a few other things. Yeah, I'll have a little bit of a percentage and some other things, but that doesn't gonna, like, this isn't gonna be released box office. This isn't gonna be that much. Yeah, it'll be fun though. How'd you get the role? Well, the director is a big fan of my social media and has enjoyed watching me for more than a year, and so yeah. Who's my DSCR lender? I have a couple of them, but I have one that works with people that follow me specifically. If you send me a message, I will connect you to my DSCR lender. We're still trying to figure that out, Dave. We've got a police report filed, and they've got detectives looking into it, and we're going to see what happens with reimbursement from the platform and other things. We won't talk too much about the role I'm going to play yet, but I promise it'll be enjoyable. How many push-ups can I do? 6 months ago, when I was still in a workout routine and everything, I could do about 50 straight pretty easily, which meant that I could probably max maybe 55 to 60. I would say that'd be doable. There have been times in my life when I was in really good shape when I could do 150 push-ups straight, but you know, right now I could probably do 35 to 40. I'm not in the best condition that I've been in. I'm going to be working on getting back into shape soon. It's not so much time, it's just not having the ability to work out for a few months. I was very occupied on other things. Told my girlfriend I watched you, I wanted her to be the Jennifer to my Shane, and she didn't get it. Well, she needs to follow me and get educated, right? That's great. Thank you so much. Story time starts in 5 minutes, and don't worry, the lovely lady will be arriving very soon. No, I was never into vampires as a little boy. Things sometimes change. Oh, we're over 50,000 likes already. It's time for magic, boys and girls. So I'm going to start off with this trick because we may do it a second time if the cards get a chance to dry out. So I'm the only person in the world that can do this trick. If you've never seen it before, pay attention. What I'm going to do is take a card from this deck, put it in backwards, which in itself isn't that impressive. What makes it impressive, what makes it work, is that I'm going to do it using only my tongue and nothing else. So one of you, please pick a card for me.
You're just leaving pants all over the place, aren't you? Did I ever tell you that my husband is a supreme florganizer? The Four of Hearts? Alright. He is a supreme florganizer, and he always leaves his pants everywhere, and underwear and socks. It's adorable. It's the Four of Hearts. It's the Five of Hearts. Four. Then why's 5 pink? You don't know? He's supposed to be doing the Four of Hearts. I don't know why he pinned, why the 5 is pinned, but he said he was doing.
Yeah, I said the 4 of Hearts, and then somebody pinned the 5 of Hearts, so they misunderstood me. I can't do every card that's.
I did say florganizer.
I can't do every card that everybody calls. I can only do one. My tongue hath limits, so see if you can find that 4 of Hearts. Okay.
Why are the cards in his mouth? Because he's making sure to flip over the correct card with his very marvelous tongue.
There we go. As you can see, the 4 of Hearts just there. And if I just picked your card, you owe me a galaxy.
Tongue magic.
Yes, tongue magic.
Hi, I love you too. Thank you. Yay.
All right, I have to go get water. I realized that I forgot to do so.
Yes, while you're at it, my big pink bottle is
Yeah.
also empty. I set it in the bathroom
Okay.
so you could remember it when you were
Here's the
getting
thing:
other
is
water.
I'm going to leave you alone with all these people. There's 532 people just on this one thing, and they're all going to be flirting with you and everything else while I'm gone. So I need you guys to be on your best behavior and be kind to the young lady until I get back. Okay?
What was in the casket? It's a secret. I'm not telling. You have to rent this B&B. Thank you. You like women? Oh, well. Thank you. I am a little bit freaky-ish. It's okay. He's pretty happy with me. Thank you so much. So, yep, I've had this dress for about a year. I enjoy it. I will show you the back. Turkey was fun. So, here's the back of the dress. Let's see how well you can see it. Kind of slinky. He likes it. Yay! I'm glad you like me. Thank you. Does he have implants? No, I haven't noticed any implants anywhere. So what are some of my hobbies? I don't get to go into my hobbies a whole lot because I'm busy girl, but I do like to play the ocarina on occasion. I like to paint some. I really do like to paint porches, and I'm very blessed that I have had many porches to paint. I like to make them pretty. How did the coat hold up in Turkey? It held up fantastically. It started raining. Oh, my pendant is hiding. It's just that, not that right length, is it? It started raining. I was wearing the raincoat, and the raincoat performed. You love painting oil and acrylic. I haven't delved into the oil painting, but my husband has. I've usually done acrylic. I do like The Legend of Zelda, yes. I have a nice blue ocarina that looks just like that one. Is turkey food good? They used spices. We had some communication barriers, so we would order the plates of food and tell them, no vegetables and stuff, and we'd still end up with vegetables and stuff. But so we would eat the meat, and it's because we couldn't get past the point with most of them of not even putting vegetables and rice on the plate. We went ahead and just ordered the food, and so some of it was spicy. We ended up with a few things that were a little bit more spicy than my tummy could handle, and but most of them had real butter and would bring us real butter to eat with our food, so that was fantastic. Why did we start carnivore, and how does it affect my body? I feel like my body's looking pretty good. We started carnivore because we had a family member that had a mental health problem, mental health crisis, and we were working together to see what we could do that would be better to either reduce the necessity of medication or being able to knock it out completely. You wanted to say you love us? Thank you. Thank you. So I would direct you to Dr. Christopher Palmer's book. If you haven't checked out Dr. Christopher Palmer's book about ketosis and mental health, it's wonderful.
You can slide in here. There we go.
So yeah, there is a medical grade ketosis that you can stay in that greatly reduces brain inflammation and helps with mental health issues. Why is the water not clear? Because it is full of electrolytes. There is sodium, magnesium, and potassium in this lovely watery mixture.
So salts, and it's slowly going to dissolve. It'll become clearer as it goes into solution from suspension.
Medical was not free to us in Turkey because we weren't going for like your basic medical care. We were going for cosmetic.
Right,
so,
things we have to pay for, which is okay.
So Shane had been poked and prodded all over his beautiful head in order to help the hair regrow. So we did
oh my gosh, thank you so much.
We both did vampire facials. So that's where they take your
blood.
They take your blood and they spin the platelet-rich plasma out of it. And then they injected that all over his head and all over his face, and they did my face. And for him, they also did a hair plugs, would be the common term for it.
A hair transplant.
Hair transplant. So they took hair from the very back of his head and they put it to the top of his head. So they took a scalpel. If it's a little bit harsh for you, just wait 5 minutes, and then I'll get back to it. They took a scalpel and they basically put a grid on the back of his head and cut out the whole hair follicle. The whole hair follicle, and they soaked that in the platelet-rich plasma off of his head in order to encourage growth of those hair follicles, and then they reinserted the hair follicles into the top of his head where his bald spot is and everything.
6,400 times.
6,400 times. So they poked him, they pulled stuff out of him 6,400 times. Poked stuff into him 6,400 times.
Yep.
And then that doesn't count all of the numbing agents that they use. What clinic did he use? He used Estemark. And I had a thing that I had sitting here. I don't know what you did with it.
Sorry, I was cleaning up to get everything ready.
Thing. Can you see the hair now? It's not growing now. In fact, he's still in the healing phase. He has to be very gentle.
Crusty and everything now.
And there's scabs and stuff. He's supposed to Saturday. He's supposed to do an extra special care with his head. Was he in pain? He's been in pain.
It was painful. Yeah.
It is not a pain-free thing.
You're numbed and everything where you're not feeling a lot of it, but to say it's pain-free is incorrect. They took good care of me. It was definitely tolerable. Yeah, you're awake for the procedure.
If you want to private message him, he could send you.
Yeah, I can send you the contacts and everything. The total price for it was about $3,300.
And that included hotel stay.
Yeah, that included our hotel and transportation from the airport to the hotel, to the clinic and hotel and back by limo. You know, they sent this cool van limo thing for us, and everything was. I mean, the care was amazing. There were so many people. I didn't expect. To me, it was almost like going to get a tattoo is what I was picturing based on the price and the timing and everything. But it was like doctors and nurses, several of them working on me full time.
This was in Turkey.
For many, 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 many hours, like 22 hours.
So it'll take roughly about 6 months for us to really get to see what's going on because the hair follicles themselves are embedding themselves into his head before they're really going to start growing hair back.
Yeah, it was definitely more time and everything because of the long hair. So for you, it would probably be less expensive if you're okay with being shaved.
Typically, yes, they will shave the person's head and get little short, easy to work with things. But they tried to preserve Shane's hair at first, so they did not shave his hair at first.
And yes, where they pulled the hair from will grow back. They take it from an area that will regrow. So like your arm, if you've ever had road rash on your arm, you lose the hair follicles in the skin for a while. Then the skin comes back, then the hair grows back. And that's the same thing with the back of my head where they took the pieces from, the hair follicles from, those will regenerate new follicles.
So we are hoping that in 6 months we start to see some really good stuff.
They are 10 out of 10 so pretty curls, aren't they?
Thank you.
It is so much after
product.
It's 7:05 right now.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Give me my book.
It's time to start reading. So
we are back. Varney the Vampire.
We're going to be reading Varney. This is from 50 years before Dracula was written. If you haven't followed us for this, Varney was recently trying to get married. He had arranged for a wedding and paid the bride price to the relatively greedy mother, arranged for everything. And in the middle of the wedding ceremony, one of the guests that got invited was the Admiral. And
Admiral Bell knew
Jack
who he was.
Pringle, and they recognized him. He was disguised as the Baron, this wealthy individual, but he had to go on the lam because the Admiral doesn't like him very much. And so now we don't know what's happened to Varney, and we're going to take up, I guess, right about there at the wedding.
Right about there, yeah. One last thing that I wanted to say is I love you.
Of course you do.
No, I actually was going to say something else, and then I forgot all about it. Oh, hair extensions. Those would pull on his fresh implanted hair and would pull them out. He can't do extensions.
Yeah, not a good idea.
So. Super exciting to get back to reading to you guys.
You're certified in hair extensions and you'll hook us up for free. Oh, well, that's an interesting offer. We may talk about that at some point.
Did you ever try minoxidil?
No, I did not.
So he just skipped to the getting up the hair. So, as they were chasing Varney, the Bannerworths decided that they needed to go and try to find him first because whoever else might find him might do harm to Varney.
And the Bannerworths kind of like him.
Yeah, the Bannerworths do. So, as they were going along, they ended up down into the dark cave area that would lead out to the ocean.
Where he had unalived that guy and left him in the ice cave.
The guest, who was so hilarious and so very impatient for the capture of Varney, would have preceded everybody in descending to the passage cut in the cliff, but Henry Bannerworth thought not only was it more particularly his concern not to do so, but that as he knew Varney better, it was desirable that he should go first. He thought there would be less likelihood of any mischief by adopting such a kind of procedure, for he did not anticipate that Varney would willingly do him any injury, while as regarded what he might do if any stranger should attempt to seize him, that was quite another affair. "You do not know him as we know him," said Henry to the guest. "He is a dangerous man, and in all respects such a one as your prudence might well induce you to keep clear of. Allow me to precede you, therefore, for the sake of preventing the probability of the most unpleasant consequences." This argument appeared to have its effect, and to damp the little ardor of this individual, which it might well enough do without casting any imputation upon his courage whatsoever, for after all, he could have no strong motive in the pursuit of Varney, since he was in a line of life which would have prevented him, even if he had been the sole captor of Varney, from taking the reward which the Admiral had offered for his apprehension. The sudden change from daylight and all the noise and bustle which had animated the scene above, to the silence in the darkness, and the strange atmosphere which reigned in the underground region, could not fail of having some effect upon the imagination of everyone present. This effect would, of course, vary in different individuals, being the greatest in those of highly excitable and imaginative turn of mind, and the less in those who were of a more matter-of-fact kind of intellect. Probably Henry Bannerworth felt more acutely than anyone else the full effect of which such a scene was likely to produce, and he was profoundly silent upon the occasion for some time. Under even the most extraordinary circumstances, the descent into such a place must have affected the mind to some extent, for it seems like leaving the world altogether for a time, and bidding farewell to everything which we have been in the habit of enjoying and thinking beautiful. No one ever thought of accusing Admiral Bell of being very imaginative, but upon this occasion, although he was the first to speak, what he did say showed that he had felt some of those sensations to which we have alluded. "How do you feel, Henry?" he said. "I'll be unalived if I don't seem as if I were going into my grave before my time." "And I too. But I rather like the solemn feeling which such a place as this inspires." "Gentlemen," said the tall footman with the yellow plush. "What do you call 'ems?" "Gentlemen, I think after all that I somehow will go back again. I don't seem actually, in a manner of speaking, to care to catch the Baron, somehow, so, if you please, gentlemen, I rather think that I will go back." "Why don't you say that you're afraid at once, John?" said the Admiral. "Who, me, sir? I? Afraid? Oh dear, no, sir. I would take a trifle indeed to frighten me. I rather think, oh, no, sir, you mistake me. It's my feelings, sir." "Well, then why the deuce have your feelings to do with it?" "Everything in the world, sir. Haven't I drank his beer, sir? Haven't I eaten his beef and his bread and his potatoes, sir? And shall I now hunt him up among his own ice wells? No, perish the thought, perish the blessed idea, perish the goodbye, gentlemen." With these words, the chivalrous footman gave up all idea of continuing the chase for Varney the Vampire, and turning quickly, so as to stop the possibility of his hearing any further remonstrance, he went from the place with great speed. Still, however, with the departure of this individual, those courage, from the first, had about it a very suspicious color. They were in quite sufficient strength to have accompanied the capture of the vampire, if they could get a hold of him, and always provided that he was not sufficiently armed with the powers of mischief to their number, by taking, perchance, the life of some one of them. There was one circumstance connected with the search for anybody in that strange region, which spoke much in the favor of a successful result, and that was that the passage was narrow, and that there were no hiding places except the ice wells to explore, which, at all events, could not be a very difficult task, and as they proceeded, they felt certain that they must be driving Varney before them. Before they had gotten very far, Henry Bannerworth thought that it would be advisable to announce to Varney the precise intentions of himself and the Admiral, always providing he was equally peaceably inclined and within hearing of what was said to him. He accordingly raised his voice, inquiring, "Sir Francis Varney, you no doubt recognize my tones, that it is Henry Bannerworth who speaks to you, and therefore you may feel convinced that no harm is intended you, but you are implored to come forth and to meet your friends, who from former circumstances you ought to know you can trust." There was no reply whatsoever to this appeal, and when the echoes of Henry's voice had died away, the same stillness reigned in the place that had before characterized it. Pardon me.
"He will not answer,"
said the Admiral.
"and yet, if the other end of this passage be guarded as it is said to be, he must be here. Let us come at once. I have no wish of my own to stay in this damp, chalky hole a moment longer than may be absolutely necessary."
Congratulations on buying your first home. Way to go.
Yay!
That's something we should all celebrate. That's an incredible
Let's raise the
accomplishment.
roof.
Absolutely. So that's more important than our reading or anything else.
That's such a millennial thing, isn't it?
I think
Raise
that is.
the roof.
Yeah, I do think that's very, yeah.
1999.
Yeah. I don't think any of the kids in the chat know what you're doing. I apologize for us being ancient, but it's just part of the gig. You're 29 and 26. Well, congratulations. That's a significant accomplishment, and your lives will be much better if you keep following and learning how to leverage the equity you build in that house to buy more. You will definitely live a much better future.
Yay, so great.
All right, back to reading. Sorry to interrupt, but that was worth interrupting for.
See, the Admiral doesn't want to stay in the dark, damp. "Nor I," remarked Henry. "So let us proceed, and it will be necessary that we keep an accurate watch upon our progress, for I am told that there are ice wells in here of great depth, down which you may fall, and come by an awful unaliving when you least expect, unless that you are very cautious in looking where you tread." "There is no doubt of that, sir," said one of the guests. "This place is considered to be one of the most curious that Underbury can boast of, and I have been told that there are ice houses in which all kinds of provisions may be kept with ease and safety in the most violent heat of the summer months." After a few moments, they came upon one of the ice wells, which yawned terrifically before them, and had they not been very careful and watchful upon the occasion, one or more of them might have been precipitated down the well, and the loss of life must have been the result. "I scarcely think that ordinary caution has been used in the construction of these places, or they never would have been left in such a state as they are now. The ice wells, you perceive, lies directly in the very pathway."
"Why, yes,"
said the Admiral.
"it does seem so, Master Henry. But if you look a little closer, you will perceive that at one time there has been a wooden bridge exactly over this chasm.
Ah, I do indeed now perceive such has been the case.
Yes, and that made this place both safe and convenient, for no doubt there was a means of lowering down any baskets of wine and other matters that required a low temperature.
The Admiral was perfectly right in his supposition, for that was just the way in which the ice wells of Andover House were constructed. And now, since the bridge had been broken down, there is but a very narrow pathway indeed by which the well could be passed unless it was jumped over, which might be done by an active person. They would not pass this ice well without the examination of it, and that was accomplished by lying down upon the rough pathway of the passage and holding a light at arm's length down it, when the bottom was clearly visible. "He is not there," said Henry, who was the person who made the experiment. "He is not there, so we must pass on." They accordingly did so, until they came again to another such well, and then the guest which had shown such eagerness in the chase, and accompanied them so far, went through the process of stooping down the chasm to ascertain if it contained anything unusual beyond the debris of broken bottles of old flint socks, and which might be fairly expected to be there. "Do you see anything?" inquired Henry, as the guest seemed to be looking very intently over the precipice. We have a picture.
I like the pictures.
So we have our picture, which is of the original woodblock prints.
Shane is definitely not a Virgo.
I dropped my pencil out. Oh, I lost my space.
It's okay. Everybody will wait anxiously for you to find it. Shane is not a Pisces or a Leo.
"Do you see anything?" inquired Henry, as the guest seemed to be looking very intently over the precipice. He was about to reply something, for some sound came from his lips, when he suddenly, as if he had been impelled to do by some unseen power, toppled over the edge and disappeared, torch and all, into the abyss below. "Good God!" cried Henry. "He has fallen!"
"Good night," said the Admiral, with characteristic coolness. "I suspect, my friend, that your career is at an end."
"Listen! For God's sakes, listen! Does he speak?" There was a strange scuffling noise, and then a low, deep groan from the bottom of the ice pit, and then all was still. And from the character of the sound, Henry was of the opinion that this well was of much greater depth than the former one, which he had so sufficiently examined. "He has met with the end of his life," said Henry.
"Don't be too sure," said the Admiral. "We must have a good stout rope, and somebody must go down. If nobody likes the job, I will go myself."
"If a rope is wanted," said one of the other two persons who were present, "I can show you where they may be found, for I was at the inquest on the body of the man who was found in this place some time ago, and I marked that the ropes by which the body had been got out of one of the ice wells were left where they had been used."
"That, then," said the other, "is further on, and nearer the beach."
"Yes, let's send the light, and I will get the rope as quickly as I can, for I don't think, as well as I can remember, that there is another well between this one and that which is nearer the beach entrance." This was done, and for a few moments Henry and the Admiral were left in darkness while the ropes were being searched for. It was a darkness so total and complete that it did indeed seem like that darkness which requires but a little stretch of the imagination to fancy it can be felt. To feel the darkness. Have you ever felt the dark?
I like feeling your darkness.
I've been down in a gold mine. I was a child, and my parents rented a cabin in the high hills where they once had a gold rush.
So I grew up in Arkansas, of course, where we have lots of caves, and my friends used to like to find caves. We'd go find them in the woods and go explore sometimes little caves that would be totally dark. You couldn't see anything, or we'd be on a hiking trail and find them. It's quite cool.
Well, gold miners still lived up by their cabin. In fact, we were renting a cabin they owned, and we got to tour the gold mine.
Oh my.
Yes, it was super duper dark. Oh goodness.
Oh wow.
Oh.
I don't know.
I want to eat this.
I don't know how we could eat this and read, but this looks unbelievably good.
Oh, you tempter.
Huh?
How did you do this to us?
You're evil. Evil.
I put before you the choice. You can change the title of the lime and save more for next week and delight in the delicious sustenance provided to you by the wonderful Shay Douglas.
Can we have some
Or you can
butter?
continue to read. I will fetch butter for you.
Oh my.
and napkins?
I will provide.
Okay.
I want to eat that. Oh my goodness. Maybe I can finish this chapter.
My son is evil.
Oh heavens, where was I?
You were further than that. You were at least into that area.
Okay. Henry and the Admiral were left in darkness while the ropes were being searched for. A darkness so total and complete that it did indeed seem like that darkness which requires but a little stretch of the imagination to fancy can be felt.
Henry? Henry!
Yes, I am here.
Were you ever in such a confounded dark hole in all your life?
Scarcely, I think, ever. It is certainly tremendous, and it is a grievous thing to think that a life has been sacrificed, as no doubt it has, in this adventure.
Ah, well, we must all go to Davy Jones' locker some day, you. But, oh, don't lay a hold of me so.
I lay a hold of you? I am not near you, sir.
Darn it, who is it then? Somebody has got a hold of me, as if I were in a vice. Stand up, I say. Who are you?
Varney the Vampire,
Said a deep, sepulchral voice.
who warns you and all others that there is abundance of danger in visiting here, and nothing to be gained.
Almost as these words were spoken, Henry suddenly found himself whirled around with such a force that it was only by great effort that he succeeded in keeping his feet, and he felt convinced that someone had passed him. Who could that one be but Sir Francis Varney, the much dreaded vampire? In the next moment the light glanced again upon the walls of the subterranean passage, and the Admiral cried, "Thank you, son! Thank you! I love you! I love you! I love you!" The Admiral cried,
He has escaped unless someone stops him above. But let us think of nothing else at present, but to find out if this poor fellow who fell down here be alive or not.
Henry descended by the assistance of the ropes, and found the adventurous guest quite unalived. You don't have any more lines. I say you start.
Oh, you want me to start without you?
Yes, so then you can speak while I'm eating.
I see. How encouraging you are for me, dear. Let me grab some butter.
Henry descended by the assistance of the ropes, and found the adventurous guest quite unalived. They raised the body from the well, and conveying it as best they could among them, they arrived, after some troubles on the account of their burden, in the gardens, and finally in the great hall of Anderbury House on a table, in which they laid the corpse. It was quite evident now to the Admiral and to the Bannerworths that Varney had escaped, so they could have no desire to remain at the house, over which Mr. Leake was running like a madman, wondering what he should do. Flora had invited Helene Williams to accompany her to the inn, so that the whole party of the Bannerworths went away together, with the one addition to it of that poor girl, who had so narrow an escape of becoming the vampire's bride. What a horrible destiny. All right. As we have a little bit of victuals in front of us to enjoy,
Apparently, we're gonna
take
We're
a
gonna be
small
eating.
moment to have a few bites before I start the next chapter.
Now you get to talk. You've had a few bites. Am I cruel to him? Maybe.
Can you have some steak? Sure, come on down.
It is
There's
delicious,
probably
Billy.
not enough to share.
It is quite delightful.
So you're supposed to be talking now.
I am talking.
You're talking.
I don't know what I'm saying though. I'm thinking a lot about how much I appreciate this cow giving its life for us to enjoy.
Indeed.
We do thank God and we thank the cow. And the pig, because this is pork belly.
My son was the one that brought this food in front of you guys. I had no intention of doing so, but you saw how insistent he was. It is also important that I eat to keep up my strength for my recovery, so that my body has plenty of nutrients necessary. So this is like medically prescribed. So I'm not being rude. I'm treating myself properly, healthfully. Right? Right? Does that sound fair?
I'm going to take a few bites and I will get to the rest of the story. Yes, it is doctor's orders. He's supposed to eat nutritious, delicious things full of the building blocks to build hair. Like
this
proteins
butter.
and collagens and good omega-3 fatty acids.
Yes, duck is delightful. We like most of God's creatures in food form.
What are our cholesterol levels? Blech.
My triglycerides are a 63.
My triglycerides are a 65, but women's triglycerides do tend to run a little higher than men's.
But a 63 for a man that's 45 years old is extremely good, especially considering I eat more than a stick of butter every day. In fact, my cholesterol levels are better doing this than before carnivore.
My HDL is 99. And my LDL was 230.
Butter on my bacon.
So my cholesterol is in the optimal level for the mortality study. Absolutely beautiful. If you've ever looked at the mortality study.
I should do a video about that again sometime.
You really should.
It's been over a year since I've done a video about that subject.
Well, because most of the common knowledge hasn't been updated.
Right? So many people got mad about that video, like, no, that can't be true, because people would rather what they know be correct than to learn new information. Most people would rather defend the status quo than to have to change the information in their head.
I do not eat vegetables, but I will eat the occasional piece of fruit.
You've never had someone hold a fork like this?
When I cook at home, we eat just salt on our meat. However, we don't always have that luxury. So sometimes while we're out, people don't necessarily understand what we're asking for. And we aren't going to be the kind of people that are angrily sending back food.
Yeah, it's a little more well done than I prefer, but I wasn't the cook. And I'm not going to complain because it tastes delightful.
This was cooked over a mesquite flame. Mesquite wood. Where do we obtain the meat from? Well, this particular grouping of meat came from our local 10-box grocery store.
Sometimes we buy from some of our local butchers. Sometimes people gift us meat. There are various ways we get meat. I'm not much of a hunter.
Were these those $5 T-bones?
No, they were a little more than $5.
Mm.
They were $6.50 a pound, I want to say. Not bad, you know.
Yeah, $6.50 a pound isn't bad. Do we eat any fast foods? No. Unless you count the occasional, like if we're out on the road, we will go into we usually do Brahms Ice Cream and Dairy Store. We'll go there for just the meat patties.
Yes, we only eat meat and animal products, no plants whatsoever or breads. You can book one of my B&Bs by looking in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Just search in Fort Smith, Arkansas for your dates, and you can probably find mine. Mine should come up to the top in most cases on the searches. Our Star Lab is the highest rated B&B in Fort Smith.
Yeah, don't you have the Star Lab in your links?
Yeah, it should be in the links on my bio, and you could go from there to find them too.
I have on my channel, if you find me, then I have all of, which he's been messaging using my account, I have all of the B&Bs in my link tree.
I have to set up a link tree someday.
Mm-hmm.
How do we prevent scurvy? That's a great question. So people often associate pirates being on the ships and everything getting scurvy, or sailors getting scurvy back in the day. And they know about how oranges and limes and fruit came about to prevent scurvy. They figured out that the vitamin C was the problem. And they associate that without fruit you end up with scurvy, which is not what that means. The problem with a pirate ship in the 1600s is there's no such thing as refrigerators in the 1600s. Meaning, if you want to keep your meat good on the pirate ship, the way they would do it is they had a giant cauldron, and they had it burning all the time and boiling, and whatever meat was in it would boil and boil and boil. My first name is David. That's why Airbnb is based off my ID, but I've always gone by Shane. It's just David Shane, so it's Shane is my name. So they kept it boiling all the time, and that cooked out all the vitamin C that was part of the meat.
Vitamin C is heat sensitive.
Right. So if you cook your meat well done, you're going to have to supplement vitamin C on the diet. But as long as you're cooking your meat rare, medium rare, you're going to be able to get enough vitamin C in most cases from just your meat. Now, if you're eating carbohydrates and stuff, like if you still do some sugary drink or something, that's going to cause you to go through your vitamin C much faster. By not having any vitamin C, we don't need as much either. It lasts a lot longer. And we do these test strips.
I would also like to point out that you don't want to undercook your chicken or pork.
Mm-hmm. Well, now I took a bite.
These are urine test strips. So we will tinkle on these, and then we have an app on our phone that we will take a picture of it after like 90 seconds when it has time to cure.
Mm-hmm.
And the AI in the app will read it and let us know how we're doing. So this tests for magnesium and sodium and proteins and
vitamin
C.
So we can keep up with it and make sure that we're okay. And we're almost always good on vitamin C.
And ketones. It lets us know if we have somehow gotten out of ketosis, which can occasionally happen if you eat too much protein and not enough fat.
Or too much cheese, for example, that's low fat.
Mm-hmm. I do. I take some liver supplements.
Yes, and the liver does have more vitamin C, absolutely.
So but what I take is a desiccated bovine liver, and I take desiccated bovine thyroid because I over-intermittent fasted. You can over-intermittent fast if you don't get enough food during your window when you're eating, during your eating window. You can over-intermittent fast, and you can end up hurting your thyroid.
It is VIVOO, Vivu. And I think that's mirrored, so you probably can't read it.
Thank you. All right, I've had a few bites of meat, so it's not as tantalizing hanging out in front of me. And I will read the next chapter, and you don't have any lines.
Oh, so I can just pig out here for a little bit?
Yeah, you can keep eating and you can message with
Okay.
everybody.
For everybody who doesn't know or is just joining us, we are reading Varney the Vampire.
Mm-hmm.
This story is from the 1840s. Normally we don't have a meal while we're reading, but my son politely came up and offered us food from the grill. My friend Shay is downstairs grilling, and it's hard to pass up
I
a
think
fresh
you
steak.
misunderstood what I said. Before I was carnivore, I did intermittent fasting, and I over intermittent fasted and didn't get enough calories.
She was following the Mediterranean diet with intermittent fasting and hurt her thyroid, which is not unusual when people try to calorie restrict too much. And she damaged her thyroid. And so now, through the carnivore diet, she doesn't have to medicate. She's able to just supplement by eating some thyroid, and that's enough to keep her going.
So that's what I said. I was not saying that I'm intermittent fasting now.
No.
I do not intermittent fast now.
No.
So, thank you for the beautiful galaxy. That's beautiful. But yes, if you decide to do any form of fasting, know that you can overdo it and you can hurt your thyroid. I do have my own page, and Shane is going to be messaging
I'll be talking
with
to
my
you
page.
in just a moment through this page. Actually, I'll go ahead and post the title of the story and everything, and she's going to start reading. So make sure to follow the Varney the Vampire post that's there from the 1840s.
Yeah, I don't intermittent fast anymore. I do take a raw desiccated thyroid in the morning for my thyroid because I kind of slowed it down a little bit. I didn't click over into hypothyroid, but my thyroid did get slow. It was almost hypothyroid. So I'm taking the desiccated thyroid to help. What were the signs of hurting your thyroid? You start to lose the hair in your eyebrows is one of the signs. Cold all the time. So I was even colder all the time than I am now. So, yeah, raw, desiccated bovine thyroid.
Yes, I will go live as mayor. Yes, I will go live as mayor, and that's not going to change. In fact, all my meetings and everything I do as mayor, I will do live. There will be no secrets. City government doesn't have a place for secrets and backroom deals. If there's something that needs to be discussed, it can be discussed openly in front of everyone.
All right, I'm going to read.
You can definitely do carnivore if you are pregnant. In fact, you should follow Dr. Robert J. Kiltz. He's a great doctor on the subject. He's a women's health doctor.
Here we go. Let us fancy now, after all these singular circumstances had taken place, the Bannerworth family with James Anderson and Helene Williams seated in a comfortable room at the inn at Anderbury, where they had put up when they came to the place in pursuance of the invitation that they had received by Mrs. Williams. And that lady, probably could she have foreseen what was about to occur, would have taken most especial pains to prevent such an invitation from ever reaching such a destination. But she had fallen a victim to her own love of display, and not being content with inviting people whom she did know, she must forsooth give them a carte blanche to bring with them people whom she did not know at all. And this it was that she had been horrified by what had taken place, and had had all her brightest visions of the future levelled with the dust. When Jack Pringle told Mrs. Williams that he believed that she would quite willingly have sold her daughter to a vampire, he was right, for she would have done so, always provided that the vampire was aforesaid, had a good property, and was able to convince her of that the most important fact. The only person of all the little party that was assembled at the inn who looked pale and anxious was poor Helene, and she certainly did look so, for when we come to consider her novel position, we shall not wonder at it. She had thrown herself completely upon the consideration of strangers, and was severed from all those natural ties which ought to have forever held her in their gentle bondage. But this conduct, or rather, the conduct of that one who ought to have protected her through all trouble and anxiousness, her mother, had been such as to deprive her of the feeling that she had a home at all.
This knife is not a very good knife. They brought me like the worst knife that we have.
Flora saw that her guest, as indeed she considered Helene, looked sad and dejected, and she made every effort within her power to rescue her from such a state of things. "Do not despair of much happiness," she whispered to her, "but rather thank good fortune, which at the last moment rescued you from one whom you could not love. Be assured that now you will enjoy the protection of those who will soon be able to prevail upon your mother to look with a favorable eye upon any new arrangement."
Put it on the table where I can press down on it better.
Oh, but you'll make all kinds of noises on the table.
I know. I'm not the one that brought me a steak in the middle of reading. Blame my son for this.
"I am much beholden to you," said Helene. "Very much beholden to you, and I feel that I ought to congratulate myself upon my escape. Oh, but my heart does feel sad, because the state of things, to avoid which I made myself a sacrifice, may now ensue all in their terrors." "You're so noisy."
I'm sure I am.
"You're being terribly noisy."
I can't help it. You told me to eat while you're reading. That means I have to cut the steak.
In your lap.
In my lap, I can't do it. The knife isn't good enough to do it in my lap.
Oh, you love the steak ASMR. Okay.
Yeah, it's ASMR.
That's to be experienced.
That's what we're doing. Just imagine Varney cutting up his next victim.
Oh, heavens.
Yummy.
Oh, goodness me,
My dear,
said the Admiral, who overheard her.
don't you believe any such rubbish as all that? I have no doubt that you have been regularly persecuted into the match with the supposed Baron, and you would perhaps have found out afterwards that one half of the things that you were told to induce you to consent had no foundation but in somebody's active imagination.
"Do you think so, sir?"
Do I think so? To be sure I do. Now I dare say that you were told how, if you married the Baron What's-his-name, that you would be doing something wonderful for all your family.
"Oh, yes. Yes."
Oh, of course, I can see through all that clearly enough. And I tell you, my lass, that you have had the most fortunate escape, and that there is, and shall be, no reason on the face of this earth why you should not be married to the man of your choice. He has been to sea, and so, of course, he has finished what may be called his education. If he had been on the shore all his life, you might have doubted about the prudence of having him. But, as it is, it's quite another matter.
"Sir, I thank you for your kind advocacy of my cause," said James Anderson,
"and I shall ever consider as one of the most fortunate accidents of my life meeting with Admiral Bell." "Oh, don't say anything about it. I know some of the people at the Admiralty, and when you go to make the report of how you have been shipwrecked and how you lost your dispatches, I will give you a letter of introduction, which I dare say won't do you any harm."
"Indeed, sir, this is a more kindness than I ought to expect."
"Not at all, my boy, not at all. Don't put yourself out of the way about that. Only I tell you what I would do. You need not take my advice unless you like it. But if I were you, I'd be unalived if I moved an inch anywhere until I had made Helen Williams my wife."
"Can you suppose," cried James Anderson, while his eyes sparkled with delight, "can you suppose, my dear sir, that such advice could be other than the most welcome to me? And what do you say, Helene?" "Yes, what do you say, Helene? What do you say to it?" "Oh, but what can I say?"
"You can say yes, I suppose," said the Admiral.
Helene was silent.
"Very good," added the Admiral. "When a girl don't say no, of course she means yes, and you can make sure of your prize now that you have got her, Master Anderson, and let's see you manage these affairs with what you call a special license, don't you?"
"Oh, yes, uncle," said Flora. "That is the way. You seem to know all about it, and I almost suspect that you really must have had some experience in those matters."
I experience, you little gypsy? What do you mean? I never was married in all my life, and I don't intend to be.
Did you drop some food in the floor?
I will be. Just keep reading. It's fine.
He dropped food in the floor.
Don't make it too sure, Uncle.
Oh, goodness, now I got confused, didn't I? Don't make too sure, Uncle. But despite all that, no one could more warmly second your advice to Mr. Anderson than myself.
Very good. For that speech, I forgive you. And now, Mr. Anderson, just come along with me, for I want to say a few words to you which nobody else has anything to do with.
When the Admiral got James Anderson alone, he said to him,
Of course, you are without funds, so it is no use making any fuss of delicacy about it. I have no doubt but that with my interest, I shall be able to get you into an appointment of some sort. But, in the meantime, I beg that you will not cross me in my desire to serve you. And mind, I take your word of honor to repay me, so you see that there are no obligations.
Sir, this noble generosity. Yes? Well, hello, 100,000 everybody.
That means I'm supposed to do magic.
He is supposed to do some magic.
Yeah, that's what happens. Anytime somebody gives me 100,000, or every 50,000 taps, which 100,000 would be 50,000, I should do magic.
All right, I will wait a moment and let you do some magic.
I'm going to do magic. All right, so here we have purple and red are connected. I want you guys to try to figure out how this works. I'm going to show it to you from both sides. Purple and red are connected. You can see it up close. You see the little hole where the string goes through, just like that. Try to pay attention. So purple and red are connected. Yellow and purple are connected. See, just like this. Try to figure it out. I want you to understand. Purple and red, yellow and purple. The yellow one is also connected to the red one. See, just like this. Yellow, red, and yellow, purple. Purple, red, red, yellow, purple, yellow. Okay, red. Then the green one is connected to the red one, which might become relevant in just a moment if you're really going to understand how all this works. So green and red. Then we have the green one connected to the purple one. Green and purple, red, green, purple, yellow, and green are also connected. So look at that. So some of you are starting to figure out how this works. Some of you may not have figured out how it works yet, and that's okay. That's why I'm going to take it apart here so you can all be on the same page. We're going to look right here in the center. And you'll tell that it's not connected at all. Next magic trick is for 50,000 taps, so make sure. And tap, tap, tap. I appreciate you guys so much.
Such noble generosity.
There, that's quite enough, for the fact is, it ain't noble generosity at all, so hold your tongue about it, and be so good as to let me consider that it is settled. Here are £50 for you, which will enable you to go to London like a gentleman, and to conduct your marriage either here or there, as you may yourself think proper, and as your bride may consent.
Sir, I would fain make Helene here my own.
Excuse me.
Very good. I don't pretend to understand how to manage these things, but set about it as quickly as you can, and don't be deterred by anybody.
This short, but to James Anderson deeply interesting conversation, because it relieved in his mind from the load of anxiety, it relieved in his mind from a load of anxiety, took place a few paces from the inn door, only so that they returned at once. But scarcely had they joined the rest of the party, and were considering what they should order for dinner, when one of the waiters of the establishment came to say,
If you please, there is a lady who wants to come in. I asked her name, but she won't give it. But she says that she must see everybody. The deuce she must! Cried the Admiral. What sort of craft is she? Sort of what, sir?
Oh, my fears tell me, sobbed Helene, that it is my mother.
The Admiral whistled, and then he said, I suppose that we shall have a breeze, but the sooner it's over the better. Let the lady come in, and don't you be afraid of anything, my lass. Why, you look as pale as if you expected. Ah, here she is.
The door flung open, and Mrs. Williams made her appearance. Anger was upon her face, and it required but a small amount of penetration to perceive that she came fully charged with all sorts of reproaches. Helene trembled and shrunk back, for she had an habitual fear of her mother, which was the impetuous conduct of that individual, and what she had induced in the mind of so gentle a creature as Helen from her very childhood. "Well, madam," said Henry, stepping forward, "to what are we indebted for the honor of this visit from one who has not the courtesy to wait for an invitation?" "Oh, I expected this," said Mrs. Williams, with a shivering toss of her head. "I quite expected this, I can assure you, of course. But I'll pretty soon let you know, sir, what I came about. I have come for my daughter. What have you got to say against that?" "Nothing, madam, if your daughter chooses to comply with your request." "Helene!" screamed Mrs. Williams. "Helen, I command you to come home this moment." Mother, hear me," said Helen. "Consent to my happiness with one whom I can love, with the same readiness that you would have seen me the bride of one for whom I never could hope to feel anything in the shape of affection, and I will accompany you at once." "Oh, dear, yes, of course. Consent to ruin. Consent to nonsense. Consent to your marrying a scapegrace who cannot even keep himself, far less a wife. No, Helene, you cannot expect that I should ever consent to you marrying such a poor wretch." "But don't you think," said Henry, "that any poor wretch is better than a vampire?" No, I do not."
"Oh, very good then," said the Admiral. "If that's the lady's opinion, what can we say to her? And as for commanding Miss Helene here to go home, I command her to stay."
You command her?"
"Yes, to be sure. Ain't I an admiral? What have you got to say against that? I should like to know. I should take good care of James Anderson is no poor wretch by getting him some good appointment, and as your daughter is of age, old girl, and so can choose for herself, you may as well weigh anchor, and be off at once, for nobody wants to be bothered with you."
"Do you mean to say that you are a real admiral, and have nothing to do with this horse marines?"
"Nothing whatsoever, ma'am. Good day to you. We're all waiting for our dinners and don't feel disposed to talk any more, so be off with you."
Mrs. Williams seemed to be considering for a moment, and then she said at once, "Oh, gracious! A mother's feelings must always be excused. I almost think that just to please you, Admiral, I will consent."
Ooh, consent. That's king.
"You will, Mother?" exclaimed Helene. "Why, in a matter of speaking, I should not mind, but it's quite, you see, a dreadful thing to think of when we consider what an expense that I have gone to in all of these matters, and that I have not had so much as 1 farthing from the Baron, although he did say that he would pay all the costs that I might be put to. From resources which in course of time industry may procure me."
You all right?
Yeah, I boo-booed.
Oh.
Aha. "From resources which in course in time and industry may procure me," said James Anderson eagerly, "you shall be repaid all that you can possibly say has been expended for Helene."
"Ah, well then."
"Ah, well then, if Admiral Bell here says that he will see me paid, then I consent."
"Very well," said the Admiral. I will see you paid. If you had acted generously in the matter, you should have been a gainer. But as it is, you shall be paid, and we decline your acquaintance."
Mrs. Williams began, from the tone and manner of her daughter's new friends, to suspect that it would have been more prudent on her part if she had behaved in a very different manner towards them, and complied with a good grace with their wishes. For, as regarded the Baron, anything in the shape of more extended connection with him was clearly out of the question. But she had gone almost too far for reconciliation, and although there was no such thing as denying the genius of the lady, she was, for a few minutes, puzzled to know what to do. At length, however, she thought that it would not be a bad plan to be suddenly quite overcome with her feelings, and to make a desperate scene. Accordingly, to the surprise of everyone, and the consternation of the Admiral, she suddenly uttered a piercing scream, and commenced a good exhibition of hysteria.
"Darn it!" cried the Admiral. "What does she mean by that? Come, come, I say. Mother Williams, we cannot stand all that noise, you know. It is quite out of the question."
"Let us all leave the room," said Henry, "and send Jack Pringle to her. I have heard him say that he has some mode of recovering ladies from hysterics, by throwing a pail full of salt water over them, and then biting their thumbnails off." "The wretch!" exclaimed Mrs. Williams, suddenly recovering. "The wretch! I'd let him know too soon enough what it was to interfere with my nails."
"Oh, you're better, are you?"
said the Admiral. "What's that to you?" shrieked Mrs. Williams. "I'll go at once to a lawyer, and see what can be done with you. I look upon you with the odium of contempt."
"Ah, words easily spoken," said the Admiral, "and just like young chickens, they commonly go home to roost."
Mrs. Williams darted an angry look at the whole party, which she intended should be expressed at once, of the immense contempt in which she held them, and of her determination to have vengeance upon their heads, which double-dealing look, however, had no effect upon them of an intimidating character, and then she bounced from the room. That's an interesting term. She bounced from the room.
Bouncy, bouncy, bouncy.
"My dear,"
said the Admiral, turning to Helene, who he saw was affected at the proceeding.
"My dear, don't you fret yourself. Your mother cannot make us angry, and as far as regards her own anger, it will all subside. And when we forget that she has said anything at all uncivil to us, so don't you fret yourself about what is of no consequence at all."
"You may depend," said Henry, "that such will be the fact, and that in a very short time you will find that your mother has completely recovered from her anger, and will be as pleasant with us all as possible. I grieve to say so to you, but the fact is, what you must perceive, namely, that as regards to your mother, your marriage is merely a matter of pounds and shillings and pence, and when she finds that the Baron's fortune cannot be had, she will count herself with reflecting upon the prospects of Mr. James Anderson, who, if he do well, will soon be quite a favourite." It was humiliating to poor Helene to be forced to confess that this was the correct view to take of the question, but she could not help but doing so at all, and after a time she did not regret having sufficient moral courage to resist the command of her mother to return home. In the society of him whom she loved, and upheld and encouraged too, as she was by Flora, who was just about the best and kindest companion such a person as Helene could have had, the minutes began to fly past upon rosy pinions, and the remainder of that day, she confessed even to the Admiral, was the happiest that she had known for many a month. Many a weary month.
We just hit 150,000.
Oh, wonderful.
You want to take a break for just a moment since
I
you've
will.
paused anyway? Let's see. Since everybody's been so interested in the rope play and hard points and such in our chop shop, I thought perhaps maybe we could play with some rope here today. Let's sometimes if you just kind of tickle it a little bit, you can find that it'll get a little bit firm.
Is that your new shirt?
This is my new shirt. I just got
Oh,
this
it's
yesterday.
lovely.
Doesn't it look great? Yes. Just like that. But if you play with it too much, suddenly, and without much warning at all, it can go limp again. Isn't that right, dear?
Indeed. It's real easy. You just start talking about taxes.
That'll do it. That will do it.
Oh. So we went to Nothing to Wear yesterday in downtown Fort Smith.
Thank you so much. Next magic trick is at another 50,000 taps. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
The Bannerworths and James Anderson fully expected another visit from Mrs. Williams on the morrow, but she did not come, and although they had expected her to do so, her not coming was no disappointment.
Oh, that's always a disappointment.
But on the contrary, a matter for some congratulations, you devilish man, you.
What, me? Moi? Oh, hardly.
Oh my. But no time was lost, and as James Anderson was really most anxious to get to London to report himself at the Admiralty, and as that was an anxiety in which the Admiral much encouraged him, so that as it was quite an understood thing among them, all that the marriage of the fair Helene should take place before he again left, and a special license was procured, and the ceremony arranged to take place at 9 o'clock in the morning, on the second morning after the strange and exciting occurrences at Anderbury House. This marriage was conducted in the most private manner possible, because, as it had been so well known throughout the whole of Anderbury that Helene Williams was the chosen of the great and rich Baron Stolmeyer of Salzburg, who had turned out to be such an equivocal character, the news of her marriage with anyone else would have been sure to have created a vast amount of public curiosity. All this they escaped by fixing the hour at which the ceremony was to be performed at an early hour in the morning, and trusting no one out of their own party with the secret. Of course, from what the reader knows of the gentle and timid disposition of Helene Williams, he may well suppose how glad she would have been to have had the countenance of her mother at her marriage, notwithstanding the conduct of that mother was certainly not what she would have entitled her to the esteem of any one whatsoever, not excepting her own child. But this was a feeling which, when she came to consider the new tie that she was forming, was likely soon to wear away, and although while she was pronounced those words which were irrevocably to make her another's, the tears gushed to her eyes, they were far different from those bitter drops that she had shed when she considered that beyond all hope of redemption, that she was condemned to become the bride of the Baron. When the ceremony was over, they all went back very quietly and comfortably to the inn, and, after a good breakfast and many healths had been drank to the bride, James Anderson, according to the arrangement, took his departure for London, leaving Helene in the care of the Bannerworths until he should come back to claim her, as he now could do, despite all the plots and machinations of Mrs. Williams, who, as of yet, was in a state of blessed ignorance as to the fact of her daughter's wedding, and who had not quite made up her mind as to what she should do next in so delicate and troublesome a transaction.
Miss Heather, you need to stop, okay? For whatever reason, you have created this universe in which you do the sucking on the Oklahoma breath mints, and that's now putting your fiancé in a situation where you're breaking trust and lying and everything else. Why in the world would you not just change that behavior? And I know, oh, it's so hard, and this, quit. I didn't say it's easy. Just stop, though. It's going to suck for a little while, but just stop. Don't make excuses for yourself or anything else. That, or if you've decided that you want to not be married to this person and that's going to be an issue, then keep doing that, because that's clearly more important to you. It's one or the other, though. Like, if you have such a shallow relationship that you're going to allow that to affect it and not able to change your behavior for it, then your relationship is probably doomed already anyway. So grow up, recognize it's not going to be fun, and stop. That's my advice. I'm sorry if it's not what you want to hear, but that's what you should do.
I'm ignorant of what's going on.
It's okay. Somebody asked for some advice and said that they had taken up California or Oklahoma breath mints, and their fiance was going to be devastated when they found out. How should she go about telling her? And it's like,
I see. Be careful.
Yeah, I'm trying to be careful with the wording and such.
And actions.
The hand actions.
Yes, I can't even play an ocarina on TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok does not like things that go close to the mouth.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm at the end of my chapter.
I thought you were.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm rubbing your shoulders and loving on you.
Feels good.
You want to eat a little bit more steak while I chit-chat with you?
I would love to have a little bit more steak while you chit-chat. How are we doing on time?
Well, we probably have at least 15. Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Probably have, maybe 15, 20 more minutes we can hang out with everyone. So.
Awesome. I'm trying to see.
The next chapter looks short.
It does look short.
Okay.
I think that I could do it, but first I will take a few bites of steak.
Eat a few bites. Eat a few bites. So, thank you everybody for joining us. If you've never joined us before, we're reading Varney the Vampire. This has been a delightful story from the 1840s. So this is 50 years older than Dracula. 50 years before Bram Stoker wrote Dracula, this story was written as a series of penny dreadfuls. So people would buy little excerpts of the story for a penny, and they've all been collected together in the story we're reading now. And it's involves so much intrigue and the vampire pretending to be other people and disguises and duels and all sorts of amazing things. So it's been a very, very fun story. And I'd say Varney is my favorite fictional vampire that we've had now. I think he's very, very fun. Not that we didn't appreciate Dracula, but Varney has definitely been fun. And you can see the influence that Varney had when Bram Stoker wrote Dracula. It was a huge amount of influence. Even the real estate connection makes sense. Thank you for following. We do this every Wednesday evening, except last Wednesday because we were in Istanbul and the time difference, and my procedure was happening at the time, and it definitely would not have been a thing that we could do. How long have we lived the vampire life? Long enough to know a little bit about it. First live I've actually joined in, beginning and stayed till the end since the 2020. Oh, you love it that much. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, my service wouldn't really let me go live very well there. Even the hotel Wi-Fi wasn't good enough, so I tried to go live a little bit. I do ITF, Tang Soo Do, Jiu-Jitsu, and Sambo, amongst others, but I'm very well versed in martial arts. The 9-year-old Maddox says hello. Well, hello, Maddox. Thank you for joining us. My wife is gorgeous, inside and outside. From her entrails to her extrails. Alexa, don't worry about what you are or aren't. Just be the best Alexa that you can be. That's what I would recommend. Don't wish you were something else. Just be the best you that you can be. Each one of us are individuals, and it takes all kinds. Do we swing? Not very often. There's not really any parks, and the playgrounds don't have swings anymore, so it's...
They got rid of the swings at the playground?
There's not any at any of these playgrounds that I see hardly ever, because kids jump off of them and get, everything now has to be so boring that kids can't hurt themselves on. Was that a Knight's Tale reference? Some of you are educated. Chaucer is quite good, isn't he?
That was a wonderful character.
It was. That's not what they mean. Who could have imagined that that's not what they mean when they ask us about swinging? I wonder what else they could possibly be talking about. Are we the Wednesday family? It's Wednesday today, so we're a family. I guess that makes it correct. Do we argue? No, we never argue.
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't, dear.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Darling, we do not argue. Apparently, sometimes we argue. What do we think about Dracula Love Tale? I haven't gotten to see it yet. We haven't eaten vegetables. For me, it's been 2.5 years since I've eaten any plants. I love you back.
I know, right? We haven't taken time to be pirates.
They're asking if we are swingers. Weird. Can't imagine why you would ask that. Do you get any carbs? No, not
Every
really.
time.
Some milk, maybe some cheese, has a tiny bit of lactose in it, which is a sugar.
Every time I, flip through lives, which is rare because I'm usually busy, I see if I see a couple and the couple is there, that question gets asked.
Yeah, it's a very common
It's an
question.
extremely common question.
Well, they can't help but be interested. We're so fabulous. Are we both happy with our health? Yes, but that doesn't mean we can't work on improving our health. Health is a journey, not a, like some people set it as, oh, I'm 125 pounds and this is exactly the weight that I want to be and everything is perfect now. I'm at perfect health. Health is a constant journey towards improvement, and there are things that are pulling you towards bad health and things that are pulling you towards good health, and you have to make good decisions over a long period of time to be in a good health place. And even then, accidents and other things could come into play that could cause you to lose your good health. That's always a possibility. Any marital advice you can give for the married: communicate, allow your partner to change. There is no way in hell that the girl that I married back then could put up with the guy that I am today. And there's no way that the guy, like, we have changed. We are very different people. Our relationship has changed over that time. And as such, I've loved her so many different ways and so many different aspects of her as she changes over time. Many people have this thought of, we're going to stay this way forever. We're never going to change. And that's absurd. You're a different person 5 years from now than you are today. You have to be in a different relationship 5 years from now than you are today, which means you have to communicate about the nature of your relationship and allow it to adjust and change.
You wear a lot more hats over the years.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't parents and hadn't gone through the experience of raising children into adults when we first got together. That changes you.
I have not gained control of it again. I have an attorney that's working on crafting some letters to go through the legal department for Zuckerberg's company. So hopefully I can regain control of my page.
That's really our bigger concern at this point, is that he regains control of his page.
Right.
So that he can do his own things, more so than we're concerned about an imposter pretending to be him.
Would you change your diet if you got alpha-gal syndrome, where you become allergic to mammals? And we're very familiar with alpha-gal syndrome. There's a lot of evidence and a lot of people that are carnivore that have alpha-gal and are able to go carnivore despite that. So I almost wonder if we got alpha-gal, if we could even show symptoms since we're carnivore. I don't know. So that obviously would be we'd have to find out what happens. It is possible to be a carnivore alpha-gal and avoid mammals by eating fish and eating animals that are not mammal, but occasionally we might.
The steaks came out really tender.
The imposter tried messaging you. Wow. I wonder what the imposter said. I will never message you unless you message me first on here. So that's just not a thing that's going to happen. Can I use my VA benefits for... I couldn't see what the question was, sorry. Did you guys know you always wanted children? Yeah, we knew we wanted children when we first got married, and we talked about it. Occasionally we do.
Yeah, we spoke about a lot of things before we decided to go ahead and get married. We pretty much... We didn't date, we just got engaged. We kind of knew each other on a superficial level before that, and we spent the 6 months prior to our wedding going in deep dives in conversation and trying to figure out, how we wanted to structure things.
And we thought we wanted a lot more kids until we met our kids, and then we're like, nope, never mind. No.
Two's good.
No, she actually just had a very difficult time with the pregnancies. She had a thing called patooism.
Tylism.
Patooism.
I wouldn't say, hearing other people's pregnancy journeys, I cannot say that my journey was that bad.
It was bad enough that you were traumatized and didn't want to do it again, and literally cried if we talked about it after the second.
But I've heard of people, that they get the gestational diabetes
right.
and
but this
hypertension
is the thing,
and other things. So
it's not, well, somebody else has it worse, so I should be thankful.
I am thankful.
I
didn't have it worse, but I do know that for me.
What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter that yours wasn't as bad as other people. You don't have to quantify it. It was bad enough that you didn't want to do it, and that's okay. It's okay for you to make that choice.
I get it, yes. Yeah. The other people's struggles through it don't make mine less.
Exactly.
But reflection of age and everything and seeing other people's situations definitely let me know that mine definitely wasn't awful.
Right. Yeah.
Would I want to be pregnant again? No.
She cried every time we
No.
talked about it after that. And so I took the liberty of getting a vasectomy after that, which I had to do twice. Guys, make sure to go back and get checked if you have a vasectomy because they don't always take. Apparently, good health carries over to healing from surgeries. So make sure you get checked if you do that.
Yes, if you are a very, 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 very healthy male and you go get the vasectomy, you just might as well plan. You have to be checked to make sure it happens because it can grow back.
Fortunately, we didn't find out the hard way because we went back to get checked and everything was like the second vasectomy took. Although the second one was way more painful than the first one.
Smelled like hot dogs.
Yeah, she was present for the operation.
Which I don't know if anybody else has been present during a surgery to smell the smell when they use the Bovie. Smelled like hot dogs.
Someone said I'd rather eat broken glass than have another child.
I mean, I love my boys, but yeah, I don't. And at this point, we are mid-40s. The idea of having a teenager in my 60s is not appealing. I don't want to do that.
My dungeon added about $30,000 to $40,000 to the value of my house.
You would have a house full. Do we come from broken homes or are we close to our families?
I didn't meet my father till I was in my 30s. I was adopted on my father's side, but I had the same mom. But my adopted father, they divorced when I was young, and he was pretty much non-existent to my life. And so, yeah, I was from a relatively broken home, from a poor family. We couldn't even afford air conditioning when I was little, that kind of thing. And we live in a very hot part of the country. But it's not where you come from. It's not the things that you go through. It's not the problems you face. It's how you handle the problems. It's the things you do despite those problems. That's what determines the kind of person you are.
My parents broke up when I was in high school. So I at least had the joy and niceness of having them together as I was a younger person.
No, A1 sauce has plant ingredients in it. We don't eat any plants. So.
All right, we're going to read this one last chapter. We don't have a whole lot of time to do it.
I'll be typing to you through her account, so if you've seen her chat, that's not her, it's me. And I'm not ignoring you guys. I'm chatting through this, so thank you, everyone.
Mrs. Williams, when she reached home after what must be called her very unsuccessful attempt to make a disturbance, and to do the grand at the same time, and to do the grand at the inn where the Bannerworths were, set herself seriously to think what would be the best course for her to adopt in a rather perplexing aspect of her affairs. The few words that she had used at the inn, indicative of her censure of all the proceedings, had been of a rather strong and energetic character, so that she had a very uncomfortable suspicion upon her mind that she would find it rather a difficult task to pacify her daughter's new friends. The offer which the Admiral had made to repay to her any expenses that she had been at impressed her with a belief that he surely must be in possession of what to her was the most delightful thing in the world, and comprehended all sorts of virtue, namely money, and of course her feelings became instantly most wonderfully ameliorated. "I'm very much afraid that I've been too precipitate," she said. "I really am afraid that I have, and that ain't a pleasant reflection by any means. What can I do to get good friends with them all, and particularly the dear old gentleman who promised to pay me?" This, of course, was a problem which Mrs. Williams presented to her mind, for the captivating idea of actually having been paid £500 by the Baron, and thus sending in a bill for the same amount to the Admiral, took wonderful and complete possession of her. This was indeed, she considered, a master stroke of policy, and all she had now to consider was the means of getting on such good terms with the Admiral that he should neither question items nor amount of the account she intended to send him in. "If only he pays the 500 as well as the Baron has paid his, I shall not come out of the transaction so badly," said Mrs. Williams. While she was in a state of perplexity, she was sitting by the window of her dining room, which commanded a view of the street, and as she sat there she was much surprised to see Jack Pringle, who was still had a lingering suspicion might, notwithstanding his disclaimer of the title, be Admiral Green, on the other side of the way, making various significant movements of his hands and head, as if he had something of an exceedingly secret and strange mysterious nature to communicate to her, Mrs. Williams. This was quite sufficient to call for the lady's most serious attention, and accordingly she walked graciously so close to the window that her aristocratic nose touched the glass, and nodded to Jack, after which she beckoned him across the way, after the manner of the ghost in Hamlet, upon which Jack, with a nod, came across with the way forthwith. In another moment Mrs. Williams opened the street door herself, and said, "Mr. What's-your-name? Mr. What's-your-name, have you got anything to say to me?"
"Oi, rather," said Jack.
"Well, what is it then? Pray, what is it, Mr. What's-your-name?"
"Well, first off, don't call me Mr. What's-your-name, ma'am.
Jack
My name-
Pringle is my favorite character, and I know it's Jack Pringle by her voice as soon as she starts doing it.
My name is Jack Pringle."
"Oh, Mr. John Pringle, I suppose."
"No such thing. Nothing but a plain Jack, ma'am. So you see you are mistaken. But I've got something to say to you, ma'am, as you ought to know."
Anyone who has known Jack would have seen by a certain mischievous twinkling of his eyes that he had on hand what he considered one of the most excellent of jokes in all the world, and was about to perpetuate what he thought some famous piece of joviality. What it was, we shall quickly perceive from his communication with Mrs. Williams.
"Well, ma'am," he added, "you know Admiral Bell, I believe."
"Oh, yes, I certainly do."
"Well, I don't know I ought to tell you, Mrs. W., but what I'm going to tell you first of all, is that the old Admiral, with what prize money paid, and the other thing and another, is so immediately rich, immensely rich, that he really don't know what to do with his money."
"Oh, how dreadful," said Mrs. Williams.
"I think I could suggest to him a few things to do. He's so desperately obstinate he'll listen to nobody. And you see, as he never married, who has he got to leave it to? At the least, that's what we all been wondering, for I don't know how long. But what do you think? What do you think that we've found out, Mrs. Williams?"
"Well, that's very difficult, of course, for me to say. Perhaps you'll be so good as to tell me."
"Well, you ought to know it. He has fallen in love, ma'am. Actually in love, for the first time in his life. Why, yes, he's actually fallen in love, Mrs. Williams. There's a go."
"And with which one of my daughters? Is it with Julia? Did I mention her to him?" And I thought I saw a curious expression come across his face. "Of course, I'm quite delighted to hear it, for with the feelings of a mother, I'd like to get my girls off hand as well as I can, and as Admiral Bell is so very respectable a person, I can have no sort of objection in the world."
"Well, there you go and do it again. You are quite mistaken. I can tell you, you never made a greater blunder than that in all your life, Mother Williams. Excuse me, ma'am, but that's my way."
"Oh, well, don't mention it. But where's the mistake, my dear sir?"
"Why, just here, ma'am, just here. The Admiral's not so young. He was 25 years as he was 25 years ago, and he ain't quite such a fool as to think that a young girl can care anything for him. But he's in love, for all that. Only, you see, ma'am, he happens to be with somebody else."
"Well, good gracious, who is it? And why do you come to me about it?"
"Because it's you."
Oops, you better fix that.
Yeah. get that call back later.
Oopsie.
Sorry about that. I usually have that silenced. Whoever is calling me can wait till after we're finished.
I didn't see who it was.
I don't know either.
Me? Oh, gracious Providence. You don't mean that. In love with me? Oh, the rich old admiral? He cannot live long. How much money, take it all together, do you really think that he's got? Oh, I declare you've taken me by so much surprise that I don't know what I'm saying. Oh, of course he will propose in a very handsome settlement.
Well, you may depend on that. But the odd thing is, you see, ma'am, that although he's quite head over heels in love, he won't own it. But he walks about like a little bear in a bad place on his back, doing nothing but growl and growl and growl from morning to night.
Then how can you tell if he's never said so?
Hang on. Maybe this is important. Hi, this is Shane. Apparently it's not important. Whatever.
They hung up directly.
Yeah, after calling back a second time. Okay. We're going to just ignore any other calls and we're going to keep focused on this.
Perhaps you should silence it so it doesn't
well,
make
we're going to be
noise.
finished in just a minute, so.
I suppose.
After our magic trick in this chapter.
Oh, well, he doesn't say so. He mumbles it out to himself, and we have heard him say. He says, "Damn it all, that Mrs. Williams has sold the craft for my money. But what's the use of me bothering her about it?"
I told you.
I don't know what this is about. I'm just going to silence. And now it won't ring anymore.
Now it'll be good and quiet. Besides, it's almost our 9 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, 30 minutes.
I won't say anything about it to anybody.
Oh, what an amiable idea.
Very, ma'am. And what I've come to you for now is to say that if you have no objection to the match, you might as well make the old man happy by letting him know in some sort of way that you wouldn't be so hard-hearted as he thinks. But that you would have him, and that would you say the word?
How can I express how much obliged I am to you, Mr. Wingle?
Pringle, ma'am. But, if you please, ma'am, it's my name, and as to being obliged to me, you ain't at all. And I'll tell you how, you see, and the Admiral have sailed with each other many a voyage, and I've got a sort of feeling for the old man that makes me, when I see that he's a fancy, to try my best to gratify him, and without thinking of anybody but him. I've come to you just to tell you what I know about the affair, and I must leave it to you to do what you like.
Well, still, I'm very much obliged to you. What if I were to call and ask for a private interview with the old man?
Oh, well, that's a good idea. It was only the other day that I heard him say that you was his pearl, and that the main chain of his heart. I can tell you, and even such as a load more. He'll be taking his dinner at 4 today, and after that he usually takes a sleep in the armchair in a room by himself. And, if you like to come then, you will catch him.
Well, be assured, my dear sir, that I shall be there punctually to the minute. You will be so good as to receive me and introduce me to him, and perhaps it would remove some of his timidity if I were to let him know that I was aware that he had called me his pearl, and the main chain of his heart.
Well, of course it would. You put him in mind of it, ma'am, and if you find him backed a little, don't you mind about giving him a little encouragement, because you know all the while he really means it, so you need not care about it.
Well, Mr. Bingle, all I can say is that I feel very much obliged to you indeed for letting me know this matter, and my great respect for you and for the old Admiral will, I assure you, induce me to consent to what you propose. Of course, I have had many offers, as you well may suppose, Mr. Kringle.
One, I've told you before my name is Pringle, and if you can't recollect that, just call me Jack. And be done with it. You won't forget, Jack. I'll be bound, call me that, and I shan't quarrel with you about it, ma'am, but don't be inventing all sorts of old names for me.
Oh, pray excuse me, dear sir. I certainly will do no such thing, and at 3 o'clock I hope that I shall have the pleasure of seeing you. I believe it's the Red Lion where you're staying?
Oh, yes, the Red Lion Inn. And at 3, I shall be on the lookout for you, ma'am. You may depend, and I only hope you won't mistake the Admiral's bashfulness for anything else, because I assure you he is mad in love with you, but don't like to own it, ma'am. So just you bring him out a little, and don't you mind what he says."
Mrs. Williams duly promised that she would not mind what the old man said, and from what we know of the lady, we are quite inclined for once in a way to give her the credit for serenity in that matter, and the greatest possible amount of candor. As for Jack, when he left her house he had got fairly round the corner and out of sight, he laughed to the excess that several passers-by stopped to look at him in wonder, and had he not ceased, he certainly would have had a crowd round him in a very few minutes. Longer would have perhaps thought of him out of his senses. But after a few minutes the explosion of his bottled-up mirth had subsided, and after getting a boy who was the nearest to him of the admiring spectators a good rap on the head, he walked to the inn. Jack would have been glad to have told someone of the capital joke that he was playing on the Admiral's expense, but he was afraid of being betrayed, so he wisely kept the secret of the forthcoming jest all to himself, although Henry Bannerworth and Charles Holland might both, after such a thing happened, or even during its progress, have a good laugh at it. It is not to be supposed, entertaining as they did so great respect for the old Admiral, that they would have lent themselves to the perpetration of such a joke. And it may be supposed that Mrs. William was all aflutter and expectation, and the idea of at length mending her decayed fortune by union with the old man, who was reported to be immensely rich, and who had already reached an age when his life could not be depended upon for 1 week from the other, was one of the most gratifying circumstances on record to her.
Gratifying circumcisions on record? What?
Circumstances.
Oh, totally different. Sorry.
Yes. She's quite excited to meet someone who could
Potentially be
flutter
wealthy.
away to the afterlife
Yeah.
and leave her
Copious amounts of money.
No possible plan could have been devised which was so likely to chime in with her humor as this, and if she had been asked in which way she would like to make money, it would have been that which she would have undoubtedly chosen. Now, I shall after all make an admirable thing of this affair. There can be no doubt that I shall of course soon be a widow again, for the old sea monster cannot live long. I shall insist upon a very liberal settlement, indeed, and then I suppose while he does live, I must keep him in good humor, so that he may leave me, at all events, the bulk of his property when he unalives, and then I can live in the style that I like, and make everybody terribly envious. To excite an extraordinary amount of envy was the very height of felicity to Mrs. Williams, as indeed it is to many people of far greater pretensions than that lady, and we cannot help thinking when we see gaudy equipages and all the glittering and costly paraphernalia of the parvenu wealth, that the great object of it is to excite envy far more than admiration and pleasure. There are Narrowidges and Staples and the Jenkinses, thought Mrs. Williams. Oh, and I know that they will all be ready to eat their very heads off when they hear it, that I am married, and that too, that I am married so well. Oh, they will just be so spiteful, and particularly that Mrs. Jenkins. I'm quite serious illness. These were the kinds of triumphs upon which Mrs. Williams felicitated herself and pictured to her imagination as the result of her marriage with the Admiral, which she now looked upon quite a settled thing, because if he were willing, she felt perfectly sure that she was, and therefore, what was to prevent the union from taking place? What pleasant anticipations these were, really! We can almost consider them, while they lasted, as sufficient to counterbalance any disappointment which was likely afterwards to take place, and the hour, too, which Mrs. Williams devoted to the gorgeous dream of wealth she so fully expected to enjoy, were probably the most delightful that she had ever passed, and certainly So far she had to thank Jack Pringle for giving her so much satisfaction, although, as will be seen, she did not feel towards him any great amount of gratitude on the momentous occasion. Mrs. Williams, no doubt, still thought herself quite a fascinating woman, and when she had failed in guessing that it was herself that the Admiral was, according to Jack's account, devoted, it was not that she entertained a modest and quiet opinion of her own attractions, but, from the force of habit, seeing that so long a period had elapsed without her having an admirer, that she could not believe that she had one then, until actually assured in plain language of the fact. And now, about half an hour before the appointed time, the lady arrayed herself in what she considered an extremely becoming and fashionable costume, and started to keep her appointment with Jack Pringle, who in her affections now held quite a pleasant place, and towards whom she considered herself so much indebted for the kind information that she received at his hands. The distance from any house in Anderbury to any other was but short, so that Mrs. Williams was within the time mentioned when she reached the door of the Red Lion. But she was gratified to find that Jack Pringle was there, apparently on the lookout for her, because it showed that nothing had happened to alter the aspect of the affairs, but that the chances of her becoming Mrs. Admiral Bell were as strong as ever.
"Well, I'm glad that you've come," said Jack. "They've got over their dinner rather quick, and that's a fact, and the old man's fast asleep as usual, so you can commence operations at once."
"1,000 thanks, my good friend, and you may depend upon my gratitude."
"Well, hush, never you mind that. I don't want nothing. This way, ma'am, if you please."
And that's where we leave off right now.
That is the end of the story. So we're going to have to find out if the wedding plans can come to fruition from this conniving lady.
We will see what happens next.
I owe you guys at least one magic trick, it seems. So I think this one would be appropriate, dear. What do you think?
Oh,
Can we
my
do this?
goodness.
I think we can do this. So what I have here, you can see that up nice and close. This is going to fit into the groove here. Got it to where you can take it apart and see, and this little handle just holds everything together. Then we drop this part in just like so. See that? Just like so. And nothing. Oh, the mic's in the way. There we go. Shadows in the way. That's what it is. So yeah, just like that. Nothing can pass through. All right. Let's do this. Here we go, babe. You always get nervous.
I
haven't
do.
messed it up
You
in a
haven't
long
hurt
time.
me in a long time, but I'd rather not.
Just relax. 1, 3. There we go.
I survived.
Look at that. Good girl. I love you guys. We're not always perfect. Life isn't about our mistakes and problems. It's about how we handle problems. Yeah, I'm going to try to quit itching.
It's gonna get better.
Yeah.
Here Saturday he gets to do a really good head scrub,
Yeah,
and it'll be the first time since this whole thing.
I know. I cannot wait.
Antihistamine, maybe?
I don't think that's going to help. It's like a scabby itch. I'm covered in scabs all over the top of my head right now. And
He got hair plugs.
yeah, we did a video about it the other day.
Don't meddle in dark magic. Deal.
We've been together a long time. 24 years.
He is my dear, my darling one, my wonderful dear, my darling one. Don't ruin the work with the itching.
Right.
Exactly.
What's your key to a healthy relationship? Communication. But it is definitely time for us to get going so we can get ready for bed.
Apple cider vinegar?
I love you guys so much. I hope you have the very best night.
I haven't bought apple cider vinegar in a while.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Do 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 do. Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. I